Today, we are going to be speaking about the high performance woman and how, in the public opinion of high achievement, she is often or seldom not supported. Today, Renee, who is one of the highest achiever, top performer that I know, we can compare notes to see if it is something that we both experience the same way. I know for a fact a lot of my friends that are high achievers, we've had this discussion before, and it seems to be a recurring theme. Renee?
I am ready to dive into this one. I read some of your notes and I thought, oh gosh, this is actually really made me stop and think. And I wasn't liking what I was thinking. In that
Yeah.
there's a cost. There's a cost to being the way that I am, you are, the friends
The
that you
way
just
that we
wrote.
are.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I find, just in looking back, right, what kind of brought this to the forefront, this topic was, I was feeling a little, on the soft side, a couple of days ago. And I kept thinking, should I say something, right? Because normally I am very, very apprehensive of ever, you know, um, sharing something that really it could be a passing moment or it's really not that big a deal, or maybe I need to do more reflection on, right? Which is part of the high achieving, persona or identity, I guess. So I reached out to a friend of mine whose personality is bigger than the storm, right? He's military grade, bigger than the storm. So I just said, I'm feeling, this. And his answer, funny enough, was, because one of the things that I said is like, I'm feeling dumb, right? And I was feeling dumb was probably not the right word. But anyway, so his answer was meaning absolutely nothing bad. It's like, seriously, not even if you try, you can be dumb, right? And what made me laugh was that that's not the first time the intelligence attribute or characteristic has been thrown back at me when I've expressed vulnerability. And it has not been out of malice or anything. It's almost like, come on, I expect better from you, right? Like you're too smart to be thrown by these.
Hmm.
In both times, I felt like, yes, it stopped me on my tracks and stopped me from going any further down that bunny trail. But on the other hand, it's like, what does one thing have to do with the other, right? Just because you're a high achiever doesn't mean you don't feel.
Well, and what I got from that is you put something out there, and really all that you were wanting, or what I perceive, is that you wanted to be heard, right? You just, you know what, I'm having an off day, and you wanted to be heard, and you weren't really heard. You were analyzed, or you know what I mean, like suck it up, Buttercup kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was analyzed, but it was a little bit more like, well, I mean, always consider the source, right? I did go to a military grade person, so of course, a suck it up buttercup was the appropriate
Right.
answer. But still, it was it just came to light, right? That when you, because nobody makes us grab own an identity, like people may push it on you or your family or anything, but it's up to you to accept it, right? So once you accept it and own it and perpetuate it, when you ask for help, I have two questions. One, what response do you get? And two is, does it feel icky? Do you get the ick when showing vulnerability?
I can't answer two because, in all honesty, I can't remember the last time that I've asked for help. Oh my gosh, except for silly things like, um,
Hold
we've
these while
got,
I put the nail.
right, or we've got people coming over, and the house hasn't been prepared. grab a broom or, unload the dishwasher. I'm barking out commands like that, but yeah, no, gosh, it's hard to ask for help. Oh, I hate to say that, but
No,
it's true.
and that's part of, because that full plate, right? Is it of our own doing? And then, you know what I mean? Like the resentment, burnout, like who is it at? Who are you mad at? Are you mad at them or are you mad at yourself?
Well, and why am I keeping my plate so full? Right? Am I
And
am I am
why?
I staying stuck in the, full platter so that I am distracted from, I don't know, what's back here?
Yeah, and correct. Like, what's the deal with it? And it just I found myself, I find myself in a situation where a lot of the outcome is out of my control and is driving me bananas, like absolutely bananas. Where, and you and I are we're like two peas in a pod when it comes to it. And how we manage to collaborate still baffles me to this
I know.
day,
I know.
because we instinctively jump on the driver's seat, even though we don't know the road, we don't know the car, we don't know, we don't know, right? We don't know what the other person's doing or what's happening behind the scenes or how they're working, because they're the professional at it, right? But we have such a need to feel in control that we take on tasks that we have no business taking on. And I remember a friend of mine saying, just because you can do so many things doesn't mean you should.
Exactly. Yeah. It's hard though, because when you, oh, and this doesn't, I don't know if this sound, I don't mean this to sound arrogant, but when you know, if here are my options of who I can give some of it off to, hand it off, if I know
Mhm.
I can do a better job and a faster job, or, not have to take the time to explain it all, I'll just get it done. Like, it's just so much easier to get it done, but that's not the right answer. I know it.
I know, right? And so my question was really, because I know it was said with all the love in the world. Like, so I'm not questioning, the feedback or the answers that I've gotten through the years. Now, some has been critical. I do, and I even wrote it in one of my books that, when I went out on my own and I decided to take on these like massive, tasks, right, and goals. One of a former friend, through divorce, you kind of lose some, win some. And a former friend, her husband said about me as a comment to her, like, oh, well, she clearly has more money than brains, right? I'm
Hmm.
thinking, how does that work? Right? Like, and it just always seems that competency gets thrown back at you. At least that has been my experience. I don't know if that has been your experience.
I can't I can't think of an example like that, but for me, it's more, you, you can do a better job. So why don't you just do it? Right. Like that. Like,
But is it a better job, or is it just a better job in your criteria?
right. Oh, and is it a cop out on their part? Because they're like, you know what?
Oh,
She's going to improve it, change it anyway. Right. Here's a silly example: loading the dishwasher. Oh my
oh,
God.
yes.
Why can't you people see the way the dishwasher rack is built,
Designed.
designed? Thank you, good word. And put the right things in the right spot so it's maximum efficiency. Oh my God, it drives me nuts.
So my son and his dad are left brain hemisphere, right? Like very methodical, very, they're good with mechanical things. And I'm more creative. So I'm more like right brain, hemisphere. And one time I came across this like meme that said that in every household, there's one person that loads the dishwasher with Swedish precision, Well, the other one does it like a raccoon on crack. So I just laugh because in my case, it was my son that would load the dishwasher to capacity to precision, right? And I'm kind of like more, just put in more, right? Throwing, I guess Latin in me. We don't follow rules very well. But anyway, so it's funny that you bring that up. So at which point are you okay when someone else does the task but does it differently than you?
Well, and that's a really good point because I did, when my boys were still living at home, I did get to the place of therapeutically, okay, Renee, what's better? That it's done your way and you had to do it, or that you look the other way and they did it at least and it got done. Right. So I did heal that a bit. But now that they're gone and it's just, my husband and I've just reverted right back. It's like, come on, dude, seriously.
Well, they call it relational consequences to the high achieving. And it doesn't just have to be a woman. I don't know. Like, I don't like, I know men are better, I think, in from research and experience at compartmentalizing, right? Where if you're
Compartmentalizing.
like a high achieving CEO and prosecutor and doctor and whatever you do during the day, I don't necessarily experience that that's what shows up at home, right? Like, there seems to be a good leave it at the office kind of, boundary. Where with women, I think it spills over a little bit more. I don't know if I'm being fair on that assessment. I just think if you're a high achiever during the day, you continue to be a high achiever. It's an identity, it's not a task.
Yeah, that is definitely a good clarifying point. It is part of the identity. And you know what? Well, hold on. I don't know. Uh, how do I want to be seen? I want to be seen as competent. I want to feel that I'm competent. Do I need people to acknowledge that or demonstrate that? I don't know. Never thought about that before.
I know, because I have very, on Walden Pond tendencies. Like that, you know what? Like I I rather do it alone than have to wait, explain, compromise, or which could mean why I'm single. I am quite aware of that. But is I don't know. I just find it that the few windows that you open yourself up to maybe vulnerability or I don't know, lapse of judgment to share what you're actually thinking, right? Is it worth it? Because it just seems to come back and bite you in the bum after.
Well, but here's the other thing though. If we keep being the way we're being and we just keep digging those neural pathways deeper and deeper, oh my God, what are we going to be like, 10, 20 years from now? I'll be like don't you touch my dishwasher.
Make sure the walls are padded.
Yeah, seriously. Like, when are we
Mental
going to
health.
let loose? Come on.
That's right. I don't know. Is it a skill set like learning to relax and learning to chill and like roll with the punches? Is
It's
it
got to be.
cultural? I don't know. And is it a North American, like Canada and the US, like we're different, but we're like not that different. Is it, it's not as like once you go like US to Mexico, with my heritage being Latin, so cut me a little slack there. It's a bit of a cultural gap than what I have experienced from Canada to the US, right? And women are like, I think we have become so empowered, and that's not a bad thing, right? But it also means that all of the sudden we're like a one man band. In how sustainable is that?
Yeah. And what happens when we stop? Seriously.
Actually, you know what happens when I stop? When people go on vacation, they come back refreshed and re-energized and everything. If I stop, I have such a hard time picking up momentum again. Like it's
So
the
what does that,
opposite.
so what does that mean? When you go on holiday, you work?
I very seldom go on holidays. I just don't.
Oh.
And not from an economical well, I got issues like ever since the pandemic. I got issues breathing, in close environments. But aside from that, right, I'm just not. I probably do more working vacations, like, where you're gone for like a couple of weeks, and you work. You do the same. You work when you're away, right? So
Mhm.
I work a shorter, a more flexible. I'm not going to say shorter. I work a more flexible schedule every week of the year, right? Where if I'm tired, I don't work. If I need to, it's a Saturday. Oh well. Like I only keep track of the schedule and the time for other people's sakes, not for mine. Because when you're creative, you work when the muse it knocks on your door, right? If opposite to try to be creative when like there's nothing to give, right? That's super hard to do.
Mhm.
But yeah, going on holidays, I find it very, very stressful. If you just like go on holiday, because everything keeps piling up, right? So it's tons of
Mhm.
work before you go, tons of work when you come back. And what did you achieve? Like in your traditional 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks, like very seldom do people take 3 weeks off or 4 weeks off, I find.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I
I'm
guess,
gonna need therapy after this episode, or people will volunteer therapy.
yeah. Or people will think we're absolutely crackers. Um,
And people will get to know that we're absolutely crackers. So
yeah, yeah. Hi, it's really us. Well,
not a show.
I mean, it probably, I, I'm lucky in that because we have a real estate team. We've got someone watching, right? So nothing falls through the cracks
Mm.
while we're away. And if anything needs attention, it gets right to us immediately and we can deal with it. Thank goodness for the digital world. We can deal with it wherever we are. But no, we do go away. I do manage to relax and I do work while we're away. It's finding that balance, right? So, but yeah, no, I need to be at the ocean. I need to be, something going on, mountains or ocean, so that I can just chill a little bit and just absorb sunshine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? I've had other friends that are like extremely high output people, but they live in like one of them lives in like a huertas in like 100 acres. That
Mm,
if he's freaking out, then he'll just go for a paddle on his canoe, right? And clear that mind and come back. But again, I
nice.
think it has to do with living on your own terms. And just because you're happy, high achieving with a high output doesn't mean it's bad,
Absolutely.
right? Like if it makes you happy, then go
Especially,
for it.
well,
Yeah, it's
you're
only
asking the
a
wrong
problem.
person. I think it's great.
Right? What was that?
I said, you're asking the wrong person. I think it's great.
You know what? I think and I have a number of my friends are just like you, that I know if I have a thought on my mind that is like I've hit gold, and I'll text, on a now or whenever you have a chance kind of idea, right? Like, make sure you respect boundaries. And it's a Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night, right? Chances are they'll engage because it is something that we're either working on, or they're also probably just praying for something like this to land on their inbox so that they can, what I mean, get back to that mental stimulation, right? So I guess the question, because there's a reward, there's got to be something we get from it, otherwise we wouldn't be doing it.
I think it's a control issue too. Did we already talk about that? I don't know. Have we talked about that in this half hour? But yeah, I
Is it
think you mentioned
control or is it fear?
what's the difference, right? Like, seriously, I'm controlling something for the fear of it not landing how I want it to land. I think one feeds the other personally, but yeah. And
I don't know
yeah.
if they're necessarily mutually inclusive, that control
So,
is there.
so what would control be? What else would fuel control? Joy?
Well, okay, so I have issues, especially when it comes to all of our magazines. The books, not so much. The books, Dortha and I work really well together, with, and with the team, like delegating back and forth and who does what, and it's through curation. But with the magazine, because it's so visual, maybe that has to do with it. That, it's just so visual that it has to be the right feel from
Mhm.
beginning to end, and it's very hard to articulate something that you don't know, right? So it's that
Especially
feel.
if you're the one holding the vision of the cohesiveness and the vibe and all those aspects that, yeah, are really difficult to um, translate or, yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
correct. And I think it has to do with, especially when you are the the keeper of the brand, right? The keeper of the
Yeah.
stories. And we just had that, there was a picture that I was looking at something different, you were looking at something different, and you couldn't believe that I would have thought something was acceptable the way, we did a first run. And because I was looking at other elements, in my mind, it had been corrected, right? But because it's a
Well,
brand that,
because I'm the keeper of the brand.
correct,
Yeah,
you're
that's
the
a really
keeper
good
of the
point.
brand. It's like, no, like, even things that to other people may seem irrelevant, to the keeper of the brand, it comes right down to conviction, right? Like, it's like, no, it has to be this shade of green. You know what I mean? Like, it's like
Yeah.
there's no interpreting that. Or and I
Okay,
know.
that sounds like listening to you speak and what you're saying. I agree with 1,000%. But I was just thinking to myself, how is that landing for people that aren't so wound up on their brand or their work identity? I don't know.
Correct. And with and so, yeah, so it's been and funny enough that you mentioned identity, because on things like a brand or a color palette, or a brand schedule, okay, you can control it. But when your identity comes from, say, the way you look, or
Oh,
your weight, or your marriage, or, or the lifestyle, right? Like, in my book, Party of One, I speak of the suburban trap, right? Many women that are on their own keep existing in this double income suburban imagery, that they live alone in a 3,500 square foot home. Like,
mhm,
why?
mhm,
Because they derive that identity
mhm. And
from.
widows are the same, and widowers, right? Like now
Correct.
for different
Yeah.
reasons, they
But
might
widowers
skip.
is a little bit different,
Yeah,
because there's a
true.
nostalgic anchor to it. So I would be willing to respect that a little bit more. It doesn't mean that they don't need to go. It just means, we'll cut them a little grace, a little more grace. But just for the sake of, like, for the sake of identity. So you're working like mad, you're cleaning this 3,500 square foot home, you're doing all of these, living out of context from your surroundings, because you're hanging on to an identity that, you no longer fit that. It's like we were speaking of people that do not dress age appropriate,
Oh, that's right, we were. Well,
right?
you know what?
No, but
That's
it's not because of identity, in hanging on to that, with an iron grip over something that has moved on, but you have not updated or been willing to either take feedback, or own up to vulnerability, or, like, at one point is hanging on to the way you present yourself, or or you are recognized, right? Especially when it comes to high perform, because if it must be working for you, because if it wasn't working for you, you would have changed a long time ago.
I don't know if that's so. first of all, someone might argue, well, what is there such a thing as age appropriate dressing? I mean, some people might believe that no, I can wear a tube top
Especially
when I'm 80 and
nowadays.
it's right. Like, so everyone has their opinion on that, I'm sure. But how, so yes, if identity is wrapped into what we're talking about right now, our looks, right? For this example. So how does that impact people who are using AI to enhance their image that they're putting out to the world?
Oh, I don't have an issue with that. Because I think using AI as a tool to look and feel better is really no different in makeup. It's really no different than coloring your hair. It's really no different in plastic surgery, right? How is that any different?
Yeah, no, I wrestle with it because I'm all for clearly dyeing my hair, and whatever, collagen and whatever it takes, right?
But how is
Though
that any different, right?
that
Like,
that's what I'm wrestling with. I it's almost like in real estate, a pet peeve I have is when a
nobody
realtor
looks like their picture.
will have on their business card a picture from 20 years ago. And then when you meet them, it's like, oh, is that really you? Like, seriously? So yeah, I don't know. I haven't landed on that one yet because that's a stay tuned for me. I'm still,
Yeah.
I'm not ready to put out an AI image of myself yet. Who knows? I might someday, but not yet. Just,
Not
I
yet.
don't know.
And I
Yeah.
might consider, Botox or collagen, or I have no issue with facelift. Like, whatever you want to lift and it's gonna make you happy, knock yourself out, right? Like,
Yeah, knock
it's
yourself
it's
out.
just
Yeah.
really how you feel better. If it is generally going to make you feel better, but is it out of fear or out of control, right? And how does that affect back to high performing? So if you're always put together, if you're, trying to always show up, you know like your best, right? There's even research that I read it, and I'll try to find it and put it in the description, that says that women who use Botox get less sympathy, just organically get less sympathy from other people. And it's got to do with like the movement of your face,
Oh,
the gestures, the range of motion that your face has,
yeah.
that you lose by doing surgery and injections and all that stuff. And it gets picked up by other people.
Oh, that's
And it's,
very
it's almost back to that, you know high achieving women, high performance women, you get less support. Is it all linked together?
mhm. Wow. And it's so funny on days that I'm not, on camera
And
or seeing
fabulous.
clients, I, I, you'll see me around town with no makeup on and I'm in my old
Yeah,
coat
you do.
and I think to myself, wow, I hope I don't run into anyone I know. And of course I do.
Please, we're
Um,
in a town of three. So chances are you're going to bump into people you know.
yeah. We're 300,000 in where we are. And
Actually,
it's,
yeah, about 300, four hundred
But
thousand.
you're right. When you go to the same places all the time, you see, yeah, for sure, you see the same folks. So, and anyway, all that to say, so I guess I've cut myself a bit of slack there. That I am willing to be seen for sure in my just come out of the shower. Here I am. Oh,
And I
natural.
find it with professional pictures, right? Like each time, because our branding is different. Mine is more of like, I am the brand and I am like the product for intent and purposes, right? As a thought leader, opposite to, you help people on a transformational basis, right? Like it's a little more nuanced than that. But the point is, I'll post a picture, and a lot of people are like, how old is that picture? It's like from 2 days ago, from 3 days ago, right? It's just is because is social media for professional purposes. Of course I'm going to show you my best, right? And if you want to know whether that's a real picture or not, we're also on air 3-4 times a week. Go compare. Right? Like it's not going to be a real estate that you're right. Like when you meet them, it's like, who are you? And, how old is this picture kind of thing, right? But it does, being together and being put together, um, back to the high performance and high output, I think I think organically does create a barrier. And I'm not, research speaks of these, many women speak of these. Even L'Oreal has a campaign now that many women will not perform certain activities because they get street harassment. Like if they're too good looking or too put together, they get, street harassment, right? And so they'll rather not go than to put themselves through that.
Street harassment, is that like, woo, baby, or is that what you mean?
I guess it's a new campaign. I've seen a couple. I will put links below, but it must be an issue enough, especially in big cities, that you know that that a big cosmetic company is willing to do a campaign and champion it as a social impact
I don't get it.
awareness.
So women have been getting catcalls from the dawn of time. I'm not saying that's a good thing.
Well, the pyramids were being built.
Right.
Some little cat calling on the side.
Yeah, meow. And I'm not sure why. Like, I don't understand this campaign. So you're just going to have to explain it to me later.
I'll send some links. I'll put some links below. But it just goes to show you, right, that there is a bit of a pushback when someone's trying to be their best, look their best, be a high achiever, be a high output person. Maybe the street harassment is meant to be a compliment. I don't know, right?
You know what it is? I think, especially with AI, we're coming into a time where people just need you to be real. People need me to be real. People just want to know, they want authenticity. I think we're coming back to less veneer, less polish, less makeup, less whatever. I think people want to know, you're speaking to the real, Carolina.
We're unfiltered. You know how old we are because this is a 55 plus platform. So
unfiltered, exactly.
Correct.
That's what people are wanting. So I don't, maybe this is L'Oreal's. You know how Dove did the no makeup campaign a long time ago.
I can't remember. Yeah, Dove did, and I can't remember specifically what the social movement was, but we're going to look it up and we'll put the links below. You let us know. Is it a thing or not? Right? Or is it a way to bring about awareness to a product?
And I would love to know too from people, how are you, if you're a high achiever or you think you're a high achiever, people tell you you're a high achiever, how is that impacting you? Like like I said, until I saw the notes that you wanted to talk about today, I never really thought about the consequences of being like this. And there are, I mean, even things like, how raw and vulnerable as I continue to push forward and dig in those neural pathways, how raw and vulnerable am I allowing myself to be to the people I care about most, right? Are they really getting the real core, nub of me?
The real you, or are they getting the self-censored you?
Self-censored, move forward, got to get this done because I've got 15 other million things on the go. And yeah.
So for all of you people that have high achiever women around you, sometimes we just need to know that you volunteer help and not wait for her to ask. So Renee, take it,
Yeah.
land this plane for us.
Well, this has been a great conversation. Thank you. And what I would love everyone to do is to come out to our amazing Living Your Prime event that's happening September 12th. This year here in Markham, we're going to have so many wonderful speakers and vendors and lots of surprises too. So come on out to that. Details below. Join our community. And my gosh, we'll see you back here for another episode of Filtered, proudly, not filtered, unfiltered, proudly in our prime. Until next week.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Until next time.